So this is the webinar on the strategies for job search and interview techniques. So as you can understand, this is one of the most required topic, and we have got requests from hundreds of students and various finance professionals that we hold a discussion on this. And we are happy and excited to talk about our experience and some other research which FinSapient team together has done this. So please feel free to ask the question, query, and even you can connect to us afterwards. This webinar is held to help you answer your questions and help you navigate through the career, make the right choice for the career, and tackling the interviews, which is quite often feared of. So our aim is to give you the tools and techniques to face all these challenges efficiently and make a right career and embark into a great job. So with that, I would let Nihar, one of our colleague in investment banking professional, as well as in FinSapient Institute, introduce himself. Then Rajiv can also talk about his experience and the background. So Nihar and Rajiv, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Nidesh. So I guess, yes, as you mentioned, my name is Nihar Baldev. I've been working in the financial services industry for about 16 years now. Currently working in the private equity sector. I have interviewed loads of people over the years. I've also been to a lot of interviews. And so just, I guess, we want to sort of help as many people through this webinar and answer as many questions around interviews, because obviously you might have all the skill sets, but ultimately, you need to prepare for an interview. And so that's what we're here to do. That's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Raju, brief detail about your career path and what sector you have worked on. And I do understand, knowing you, that you have been you have spent almost 2 decades in the industry and have vast experience in recruitment, selection, coaching, mentoring people. Over to you, Raju.
Yeah, so thanks, Nidesh. Yeah, thanks, Nidesh. So this is Rajiv Tulshan, and I've got almost 17 years of experience, all in financial market, though the streams were different. So I have broking, funds investment experience, depository firms experience, and then coming to this administration business, fund administration business. And with that experience, I've been on both the sides of the table. And initially, even I used to have a lot of kind of issues, thought process, questions, and all the stuff. But when I started interviewing people, I think some got sorted, and some are still there. I'm sure while we discuss, even some of my questions will get sorted, and I can take things forward accordingly.
Super, excellent. And I would request everyone again, don't hesitate to ask your question, maybe in the chat room or at any stage you feel, because I will remind that this session is for you, to help you. All your questions are welcome. Okay. I will have a slide that we will share and walk through just to maintain the focus and give you something to look at. At the end of the session, we'll also send you our slide, which has a lot of details and strategy how to do job search and face interview techniques. So you don't need to really note down anything. You just need to focus on the discussion and ask the question and clarify your issues. So, and before we start a slide, we would like to just go through some high-level details of the recruitment and selection as the industry, how things work, and what are some of the key challenges that we also hear about from our mentees, students, and professionals at large. And then we will jump on the slide. We will also have a few nice videos for you to hear, and then we'll discuss about that. So how about this? Rajiv and Nihar, you want to share some of your experience as to how the professionals can really apply to the right jobs? What are the key challenges that people are facing, and what are the solutions of those issues relating to job search? A high level experience.
Rajiv, would you like to go ahead first?
Yeah. So I'll just take a couple of seconds and try sharing my experience. So in this industry, over past many years, well, I interviewed many. One thing that I realize is there are times when people are not clear in terms of what they actually want to be, say after 10 years, or what kind of field they have expertise or interest into. And the way they go ahead is they heard of some openings and they just want to try their luck. I think what we should be doing is first we should find out what is my interest, and then what are the openings around those interest areas in the market, and that's how we should strategize. Second is experience is people do write a lot on CV, right? And when we kind of ask questions basis the experience which is mentioned on CV, I there are many times where I found people finding difficult to answer those questions. So one is you have to be thorough with your CV, and when you are answering, you have to when you are writing anything on your CV, you have to make sure that any question which comes up on that CV should be answered, or you are able to answer that. Third that I feel is when we don't know, the candidates don't know the answer, rather than being upfront and acknowledging that fact that they don't know the answer, they start beating about the bush and go round and round and round and round. And I think as I as interviewer, I kind of start losing interest because I'm not getting the right answers or straight answers. There are times where people say that okay, they don't know, but to my mind, I if I'm being interviewed and if I don't know any answer to a question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try understanding the answer to that question. Either I don't know or my answer is not right. I'll try understanding so that at least helps me to know where is my knowledge gap. And these are the some of the key areas where I have seen people encountering issues, facing issues, and that's where then their level of confidence goes down, and they start taking too much time on in terms of thinking and then speaking. So this is what I wanted to share quickly in this forum.
Excellent, Rajiv. I can relate to this. It's a very valuable suggestion, because ultimately, if we cannot back up with evidence and the facts whatever we have put on the resume, straight away in first few minutes the recruiter loses the interest. So thanks for highlighting that. Uh, and definitely we'll ask for more input from you as we go along through the slides, and we can discuss this in more detail as you said. So Nihar,
Sure.
you want to proceed with your
Yeah, sure.
experience?
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. I think Rajiv has highlighted, a lot of really good points. I'll be as brief as possible. But one of the things I would like to highlight is know your CV well, which Rajiv mentioned as well, because this is your CV, written by, it's basically, it's yourself. So you need to be able to articulate it well. So, as basic as this might sound, you have to practice articulating your CV and be as brief and precise as possible. Yeah. Um, During the interview, as I think again Rajiv highlighted on this, if you don't know something, then don't be afraid to say that you don't know, but rather than talking absolute nonsense, because the interviewers can see through that very clearly. Because they've been through this journey. The interviewer will lose confidence in you straight away. So as an interviewer, or as a manager, I would rather prefer someone who is big and bold enough to admit that they don't know, so then we can identify the gaps. So once you've highlighted that you don't know, you still need to try and make the best efforts, because what that will highlight is it will show your problem solving skills. Of course, in some cases you will not have the answer, and that's okay, and that will be clearly highlighted as well, because that's much better than rambling along in the interview. And the other thing is, I always say to myself is that the fact that you've been called for an interview, you have been shortlisted already. So that's 50% of the battle already done. So you have been identified as a candidate for this job. Now it is up to you as a candidate to represent yourself, and for that you need the confidence, and the confidence always comes from preparation. So if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail, and that's one of my favorite sayings, as you know, Nidesh. So if you so I'll repeat that: failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So you prepare, know about the company, the job that you're applying for, know your CV, be confident, and you go in with the right mindset, and then leave the rest to the hiring manager. And that's everything. Thank you, Nitish.
Excellent. Again, great input. And it kind of summarizes a lot of discussion on recruitment and selection typically happens. So great ones. Actually, Nihar, when you talked about being specific and accepting when one does not know the answer, that is what is required, because it is also test of integrity, test of truthfulness, because when you build a trust with the potential employer, they can really like you as an employee. Because always we need to remember, and I often quote even within my team, when I ask my managers to recruit right people, I often say, even if someone is a little short on the skill set or experience, it's okay, as long as the person should be the right fit and you like the person, their ability, ethics, their commitment level. Those things are much more important, and that's why I often give a quote that hire the ethics and hire the character and train for skill. Skill can be trained. It will take 2 to 3 months to train for any related domain. Of course, an accountant cannot become an aeronautical engineer, but within the same finance and accounting industry, we can cross-train people to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But if one do not have the kind of a work commitment, work ethics, integrity, truthfulness, transparency, that cannot be trained. And that's why if there is any dilemma, I would go for somebody who is straightforward, truthful, and more ethical in the response, providing the transparency in the discussion. That is much more important in today's corporate business or any aspect of life. So that's very important. And I would love to quote one famous discussion from Mr. Sundar Pichai. Definitely most of you would love to know his experience. So it is a few years back when he was in IIT Kharagpur, he shared one of his experience about the point that Nihar highlighted, being direct and transparent and accepting when you don't know the answer. It is not that you are expected to know everything. You just need to show a reasonable level of skill and ability to work. So back in 2004, his recruitment manager, when he was being hired for vice president of product development in Google, Gmail was just recently launched, I think the same day. And his employer asked that, what do you think of Gmail? And Sundar Pichai, of course, didn't know, and he did not check Gmail until that point of time. So he accepted that he does not know this, but in a different way, in a smarter way that you can also learn. He said, I did not get a chance to check about Gmail, but I would love to know, and I'm looking for, next best opportunity to know what Gmail is. So what happened is that in the fourth round, the question was asked. The interviewer had given him a brief walkthrough of Gmail as a product, and by 6th, 7th round, the question came up again, and Sundar Pichai was able to explain that. The lesson learned is, we need to accept, but when you accept that, okay, you don't know something, there could be a smarter way as well. That is also a chance for you to show the passion and the curiosity, that the fact that I don't know is not end of the world. I would like to know, and I have the commitment to know more about your business and learn whatever comes on the way. So great. Thank you so much, Nihar and Rajiv. With this, we can jump on the PPT and go through some of the well-researched items and the strategy for job search, as well as the interview techniques. Okay, so on how to search for the right job. Of course, as Nihar earlier explained, failing to have a plan is a planning to have a failure. Right, and that was our one of the quote for this webinar. So successful job search is a matter of design rather than an accident or chance. And determine the business which is relevant for your degree qualifications. Identify right title, because you cannot jump the levels. And understand the job description, what they are expecting and looking for. Because not only you have to explain and highlight those JD requirements in your resume, also you need to have relevant examples and preparation for the interview. So try to always have an integrated approach. What do I mean by integrated approach is, understand the company, understand the job role, the title. Next step, the job description, what the employer is looking for from the person and the hirees. And accordingly, update your resume, highlight the key skill set, and prepare for the interview. So end to end, the entire approach should be integrated and in sync. There should be no break in between, because that means that either your resume is not in sync with the JD, or your interest is not in sync with the JD, you don't know the resume, or you're not able to explain and represent yourself in the interview. So an integrated approach. Then research company of interest, and Nihar has talked about that already. Getting organized. So you need to prepare yourself like a salesperson for yourself. And Rajiv has also briefly explained that you need to have the right information on the resume, know yourself, and sell yourself well. For that, you need to have an organized and systematic plan. And you need to also practice your commercial and script, means you need to practice your cover letter, how to speak, how to highlight the key points, and the resume. Moving on. So getting organized means keeping the track. How many places you have applied, when did you apply? You need to follow up with the recruiter, the hiring managers as well. Often it happens they like your resume, but something else came up and they could not respond to you, or maybe your resume was 2 weeks old and there is some new vacancy. So following up it is as important in getting the job as it is for sales and marketing. The marketing experts will tell you that following up 3-4 times with your potential customer can really increase the chances of getting the business, at least 4 or 5 times. That is true for job search as well. Be realistic in your expectation. When I talk to young professionals often, and it's not their fault, it is just because they need to know more about the industry. Often their expectation is too high, and they think that they need to start at the right place at the right time straight away. The reality is that the dream job or the dream level might not come at the very start. You need to dirty the hand and walk your way up, because getting the promotion and the elevation in your role, if you are walking it in a right way, it is not too long a journey. Especially at the start, you get quicker promotions as compared to after 5-6 level, right? So even if you think that, okay, you should have been 2 level up, it's just a matter of maybe 4 or 5 years. You can climb through. And the benefit will be, once you climb from the bottom up, you know the basics of the work as well as the senior level job. It will give you the control, the basic understanding of the ground level reality, which will help you in career. When you are managing your team and the people, it will help you if you know the basics as well. Searching for the right job. Few bullet points again. So the research suggests that many hiring managers, they are wary of and careful about 2-3 things. They don't want to get someone onboarded, those who cannot learn the job. We have talked about this. It is about the character than the skill. If person is more committed to work, that's better than somebody who knows the job but do not want to learn anything new. So learnability. You want to learn, you want to show that you want to learn new skills and the work at the company, that's much better than just having the prior experience. Second thing, those who will not do the work. Sometimes people don't have the right work ethics. They don't have the can-do attitude. And finally, a soft skill. So often the lack of soft skill is reflected through the communication, the level of cooperation that you reflect during your interview. There are scenario-based questions which can measure whether you are a cooperative person or not. We'll talk about that in forthcoming slides as well. Again, the experienced job seekers, job hunters will also tell you that sometimes it is a slow burning process. The recruitment process can be rather slow. There are various reasons for that. It will take time and effort. Not every time you are lucky. And you need to dedicate a fixed number of hours. Just suggested 25 hours for aggressive hiring plan, but you can decide your own number of hours on weekly basis and stick to that. So you need to have a systematic plan, your own process mapped out, how much time you want to spend and how you want to attempt, how you want to follow up. That's why we need to have all these arms and ammunitions at your desk for the job search. Now, how to search for the right job? Networking. Networking is key. We'll talk about that again in the next few slides, but today we are in the era of information technology, networking, social media, and this can have exponential impact on your job hunting. You might have heard of LinkedIn. It's a very important tool. It can connect you directly to the hiring managers. And I have also benefited, to be honest, multiple times in my career. It can directly connect you to the hiring manager, HR manager, the right consultants, which you might not have encountered without this social media or LinkedIn tools. Send letters to specific business. You can sell your skill set. You can have customized covering letter for various types of roles as well, highlighting your key achievements. And always remember, cover letter and resume are two different species, two different things. They are not same. So you can call the company, hiring managers, if you have the number, make friends in the industry and the business. They can support and guide you, getting the right contacts and even updates. Because often there are vacancies in the company and it do not get published online or in the press or newspapers. It is word of mouth from which you can know whether there are certain vacancy in a company. So there, make the right friend connection and leverage them. Tapping the source of secret jobs. So moving on that strategy, 75% of all jobs are not even advertised because they come through referrals. Why it happens? There are various reasons, but often as a hiring managers, people just check with their team, and it also instills and shows the confidence of hiring manager in their team when they go and ask one of their junior staff that, hey, Mr. Such and such, do you know any of your friend we can hire? It shows a good relationship and also give the confidence to the manager that whosoever is coming through the referral will be a relatively genuine or reasonable person, because ultimately their staff are recommending the names.
But Nitish, just one thing I'd like to add to that, just to
Oh.
elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, 70. So as you say, a lot of jobs can be referred as well, and internal employees can make referrals as well, for which they can be compensated as well in certain scenarios. However, as a company, a lot of companies have policies where the jobs are advertised publicly, so anyone. Internal and external can apply for those jobs as part of the policy. But as you say, in practical terms, referrals are always preferred, because yeah. So I guess I just wanted to highlight that point.
Indeed.
Yeah, and just one point, sorry, Nitish, even I would want to add here. Definitely that networking is going to help, and referrals are something which every company always prefers, because so through referrals, one thing that they're very sure is the candidates who have been referred, they are going to be good in terms of integrity, hard work, and all those stuff. And those people are going to have quite a sound background of the company, the work environment, the culture, and all those stuff. And basis that, those people are taking a conscious decision to face the interview. Now with that, I would like to highlight that when one of my friends comes to me saying, hey, look, I've got a opening in my firm, would you be interested? So first thing that I should do is try to understand the culture, the profile, the way things are in terms of say timing and all those stuff, how people are valued, whatever I have to know, not just from my perspective, even from company's perspective. And then we should take a cognizant decision that okay, now okay, this is the company where I would want to face the interview and get into the company.
Yeah, they are very practical tools indeed. If anyone has any question, follow-up question, please feel free to stop us and ask. And thanks Raju and Nihar for insightful updates. And as we said, friends and network helps us a lot. So don't hesitate to ask for the helps. They might not know that you're looking for the right job opportunities or you're in the need of one. So ask for those help. And remember, your network could be much larger than you think. In today's connected world, you never know who can help you. So explore and leverage your network. Some job search skills and resources are getting organized, as we said. Written communication. You need to have covering letter which highlights your high level skill set, your strengths, and what you can do, what is your career ambitions for various types of roles or the industry. Because often it happens that we have one size fits all cover letter, and I'm not saying that fake it, make it real, make it accurate, yet you can customize that for various roles and domains within your industry. Timing is key, because earlier you send the application, there is a more chance you'll get the call. So don't wait for the last date for applications. And time to time reflect on yourself. your journey, what is your strengths and weaknesses, what you want in life, how you want to work, where you see yourself in 5 years. The reasons are that self-reflection is important to answer scenario-based questions. When somebody asks you, what are your strengths and the weaknesses, what do you want to do, what kind of aspirations you have after maybe 5 years, 10 years, what is a mistake you made in your career, then this self reflection will help you. You don't have to think about those questions right at the time of interview. When the questions are asked, you can prepare for them. We'll help you with some more tools how to do that, but be aware self reflection is important in job search as well.
And self reflection even helps the employer to understand how honest you are. And I think that is one of the key criteria uh, which is something which employer will continue looking for. And the honest feedback or the honest opinion that you have for yourself, which you kind of present to the employer, that even helps them, one, to understand what you are. Second, they then have, you know, higher respect for you. If so if I'm talking honestly about my errors that I may have committed in my job career, that tells them that okay, this guy is honest, one, in talking. So when I'm honestly talking, that means I've accepted that error, and I must have definitely worked and improved on those aspects.
Yeah,
Sorry,
fantastic
Nidesh.
point. Yeah, no, excellent point, Rajiv. Again, and this reminds me of another conversation with one of the recruiter or I had in my career. That often what happens, those who have been successful in their life or in the career, they are not cognizant of their pitfalls, the weaknesses. So whatever be the small failure or large failures, one need to reflect on those failures and the learning points, because after a successful stint, the failure can still strike people, and often we just don't leverage those failures. There are learning lessons in that as well. Hence, it is important, and it's a part of the self management and self leadership as well. Sending letters. So again, cover letter and your resume details needs to be sent to various recruiters on regular basis. Not every time there will be job advertised. Sometimes you proactively send your resume and cover letter to the recruiter, and they can just think you are a good hire. There are plenty of research that sometimes sending these letters can have a very personal touch and can get the attention from the potential managers as well.
So, Nidesh, on this, just one thing that I would like to highlight, that preparing CV does not ever and always mean that you have to use, very high level kind of English and, very, very complex words, English words to reflect yourself. Rather, it should be the very simple English should be used, and the words which you have been using and you are speaking. So in that language, it should be written so that there is no disconnect between your CV and your communication,
Right.
and which can be reflected very clearly when it is written by someone with a very high level of English and those words, and then while you speak, uh, people can very clearly see that disconnect.
Yeah. Great point. Because a very, very important point, Raju, because I can understand sometime I think people also get the help of the resume preparers or, the resume making companies. So there is a distinct difference between what the resume say and how people can speak and communicate. So that's important that we prepare ourselves and we put on the right word that we use on our communication into the resume. Yeah, thanks. And not to forget, and this for everyone's information, we have some great resume building tips as well in the forthcoming slide. Then we all can share our experience there as well. So Rajiv and Nihar, how about using the telephone calls directly to the managers and responding to ads? So how these tools help in the industry? Because I have also noted that making telephone calls, talking to the recruiter, potential managers, somebody who can make the who can give the references, that can also help a lot. And often those who are starting the career or even the professionals, they hesitate calling people and asking for this help or references. What are the tips for that?
Rajiv, do you want me to go ahead, or would you like to?
Some tips on how to connect with people on phone, applying through the ads, some.
Sure.
Sorry, go ahead, Niyar. I was on you.
Okay. Sure. So I guess one of the things is, we have I guess, talking from experience, we don't, the candidate can not often reach out to the hiring manager in practical life, because the hiring manager is often a person who is incredibly busy, who might have multiple projects running or multiple things at his desks. So it might not often be an option for the candidate to reach out to the hiring manager directly. And as a hiring manager myself, I don't think I would want to be distracted with getting chase ups. However, what we have is a preferred supplier list. So I would know a particular recruiter who is finding the right candidates for me. So I guess it's very important to follow up with the with the recruiter, because the recruiter often has that rapport and that relationship already built with the hiring manager. So the recruiter knows, with the long-standing relationship, what the hiring manager is looking for. So what I would say is follow up with the recruiter, understand what the hiring manager is like, what they're looking for, because ultimately you want to you want the hiring manager to tick all the boxes, so in the end you become the right candidate for that job. So I guess, yeah, just follow up. Phone calls are always helpful rather than emails, because you can catch the tone of the person, and it's just easier way of communication. I feel in scenarios like this. Of course, you can always, as you say, call a friend and all that. But phone calls are certainly very helpful. Thank you.
Great. And another point I just noted from the PPT here, that we should make all the efforts to map the job requirement to our skill set and expertise. Because if that is done, it will help, because the hiring managers are always in rush. They have hundreds of resume on their desk. In one glance, they can see you are a good fit, because that is the key part of the recruitment process, whether the person is a good fit or not. And if you can map the job requirement and confirm that how your previous skill, qualification, studies, and any volunteer work even relates to those specifics in JD, then a great deal of process is completed already.
Yeah.
It will make the job of the recruiters easy, and hence your selection will have a higher probability. So how to search for the right job? So at this stage, we want to touch upon quickly that how internet and the social media can help, and what should be the strategy for leveraging internet, social media, how to connect to hiring managers, HR managers, and recruiters, etc. So again, Nihar and Rajiv, any insight on this?
Rajiv, do you want to go ahead, or I'm happy to make a few points if you want.
Uh, yeah, Nihar, you start with it, and maybe I'll add to that.
You can add on to it, sure. So I guess searching for the right job. I think it's very important to sort of have your CV and post it to sort of various job sites. And I think LinkedIn is one of the great tools as well. So what LinkedIn does is it will actually highlight based on your profile what the right jobs um, are for you. So some of our, I guess, audience might already be on LinkedIn, or some of our audience might be using the premium version of LinkedIn. So I feel it's a very effective tool. Yes, you have many different job sites like Naukri.com that jumps out of my head, but the Indeed.com, etc., etc. But I've been using LinkedIn Premium for a long time, where I can also have access to LinkedIn Learning, and it will highlight what, based on my profile, what kind of jobs are coming up on a regular basis. So that way you can have a targeted approach, because otherwise it can be overwhelming and demotivating if you are applying for jobs just for the sake of applying because you feel you just want a job. Because ultimately I think we also need to understand, applying, the whole hiring process is very time consuming, for the company, for the hiring managers, and everyone. So from the candidate's perspective, it's important that the jobs you're applying for aligns with your skill set, aligns with the JD. Your CV is in line with the JD, and then I guess search with the keywords. So Rajiv, yeah, that's everything from my side. Over to you.
Yeah. So Nihar, you rightly pointed out that first, so we definitely have different sources to look out for openings as Naukri or LinkedIn. The first step that before we really start looking out or hunting out for the openings, what I as candidate need to do is first sit back and see one again what is my skill set, what is my interest, and in which field I am interested, and once that is decided, then maybe I just look out for the companies or the organizations who are there in such kind of profiles. If we want to then select some of the companies, we do, and then we do very specific search, or we do basis the way we have decided in terms of where we want to build our career, what is our skill sets, what kind of profile it is going to, I can pick up and excel. So why again, you may have seen me talking again and again on where my interest lies. And I kind of really got inspired by that movie. I'm sure many of you must have seen that, is Three Idiots.
Yeah,
And I really want to quote that movie, which very clearly says that you should do where your interest lies. When you do that, it will be like a hobby that you are managing that job, right? And you can excel in that field like anything. But instead, if you go to a different field, it will be like, okay, I have to go to office, work, and then come back. So it will be like I had to work.
right.
When you are going in your interest areas, you never feel that you are going to, you have to work. So that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, no, it's a really good point. I guess one of the dilemma a lot of us have, Rajiv and Nitish, that we all, especially when you're starting off in your career, you feel, oh, I want to land a job, or I want to, you know, I want to pay the bills, so it's important for me to have a job, and you become desperate. But I think, Rajiv, you make
Yeah.
a fantastic point, because you know, there's a, you know, one of my favorite sayings, that you can't put the cart before the horse. So in other words, you know, you have the horse in the front, and then you have the cart behind the horse. So you don't try and put the cart before the horse. So what that means is, as you said, Rajiv, that you know, don't jump into it. We understand that getting a job is very important, but it's equally important to get the right job for you, so you become successful and you are satisfied in your role. Because what me, Rajiv, and Nidish are doing, you know, we've been doing this for a long time. This is a very natural environment for us. And it might be the same for you. So yes, you're not always going to know from the start. It's okay to go into a job and learn and find out that it's not the right job for you. But I think it's also important to to understand where your interests lie. And that is why a lot of companies offer this graduate program, whereby you go work in different teams within a company to find out where your interests lie. And at the end of it, if you are successful, then you will be able to pick a team. And if you're the right fit for the team, you will then you know, work in that team, and the chances of you being successful in that role you know, will be greater. And that's what the companies want as well. They want you to be successful. And so one, the company can benefit, and two, you can fulfill your ambition as well. So that's everything from me. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to next. Yeah, so a couple of points that I can add here when it comes to job search using internet and social media. Couple of complaints I often hear on social media, that one connects to the hiring manager and the recruitment managers. Next day, they send the resume. A. B. One asks that, okay, can you please refer me to your company? The problem with that is people often tend not to respond, or they don't refer, which is often demotivating, but I'll explain the psychology behind that. If the hiring managers or the employee do not know the other person from the LinkedIn or any Facebook, they cannot hire any stranger, anyone who has just connected him or her yesterday, the day before, right? That's why people typically don't really recommend, refer, or they don't respond. What should be the right approach is, once you connect to the hiring manager or the recruitment manager of the company, immediately they are not going to help you. Yes, you can ask them if there is any vacancy in the company or not. That's okay. Next, you need to build a rapport relationship. You need to share your you know, liking, disliking, and the mindset and the personality, right? Then they will know you, and often that will be the best approach to get their help and support. Second thing, on social media, you can like, share various good articles and the thought process and the discussions on the LinkedIn. That will increase your visibility. Social media can enhance your digital brand, digital presence, reputation, your executive presence, your personality, skill set, expertise. It can shout about you. And once social media talks about you and you establish your brand, then there are out of I think 20 million some population on LinkedIn, there are thousands of recruiters who will notice you and come forward to check with you whether you're interested to one of the opportunity or not. So you need to build your brand, your reputation. You should be known for your skill set and expertise on the digital world. And then very likely that somebody will offer the job, or at least will call you for the interview. Like ultra aggressive approach, that you connect someone and then next day you try to approach for the job, that does not work, because people cannot recommend or refer a stranger to their organization, right? And if also you write the blogs, you create some video on your skill set. If you know brand, you know the valuation, you know costing, or you know some technical aspect, you know the data science, make a video, share with your profiles, share on LinkedIn, help others. Once you help others, you are showcasing your brand and expertise, and help will automatically will start to come to you, because it will show multiple things. A, it shows that you want to work with people and you are good in soft skill and personal skill. Your communication skill will be highlighted. Your technical skill will be, will be getting the recognition. And ultimately, people will realize that you are a great person altogether. And people want to work with the, somebody who is good to work with rather than an excellent expert in some area, but very hard, difficult person. So people don't love to work with a difficult person. They would like to work with an average, but a workable person. Of course, that is the human psychology. And as a job seeker, as the fresher or even the professional, we need to understand and leverage that human psychology to get the right opportunity. So with this, I would like to show a small video, and then we can have some conversation on that as well. So please give me a minute.
In a presidential campaign like no other, who...
So while the video will start playing shortly, this is about how to be conscious and careful in your responses in the interview. Your focus should be on getting the job and convincing the employer that you are the right person, right? You might have some unrelated expertise or might have some unrelated plan, but that does not need to be discussed because it often kills the potential opportunity. So let's see and learn from the video I'm going to share with you.
Hospitality Group has a booming bar and restaurant business that serves thousands of students at the University of Michigan. Today, they are seeking an experienced catering and events manager. The salary, $30,000 to $45,000 a year. The location, Ann Arbor, Michigan. What's your dream job?
My dream job would be handling events.
I like small business because they eventually grow into bigger businesses and help people, put people to work, make sure their families are taken care of, so you can make a bigger impact. And that's exactly what I see myself doing.
I love your answer. We're looking for somebody who wants the job, who is passionate about people, events. Somebody who wants to work for your company is ultimately going to be the best employee.
From the age of probably 5 years old, I watched Jerry Maguire and I wanted to be a sports agent.
So this isn't that.
Show me the money. There's nothing more that I would say that I love out there than actually working for myself and being able to do what I want to do. And at 24, I'm just trying to find some stability.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
He wants to be an entrepreneur, start his own thing.
Yeah, I would say probably gut. I think there have been better candidates.
Going down.
All right, we are back. So what did we learn?
What not to do.
What not to do, and give some remark which can, just derail the good opportunity. I just want to make the money. Yeah, of course, people want to make money, but show your passion, your contribution, your goals, which is win-win for your employer, your community, yourself. It shouldn't be a money-minded focus. Of course, that should be most of us and almost all of us has that objective. But what we need to tell in the interview, what value we are going to bring on the table, rather than just saying that, okay, give me money and I want to go home after. What do you say, Nihar? Anything else that we should be avoid and be conscious of? And Rajiv?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good video because it shows exactly that what you shouldn't do. So you need to talk about how much you love the company and why you want that job and how you can add value instead of and more importantly having that focused approach rather than just talking all that nonsense that we just saw in the video. So it was a really good video, and I hope the audience got the right message from that video.
Yeah, a very good video with a very clear message as to what, how,
So, Raju,
and
anything
where we need
else
to.
that we missed?
Yeah.
Any other
So
experience that
whatever.
you had, or something that you found out?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Rajiv. Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying is a very good video, which
Let
very
me
clearly
share
says.
another such video, which will
Nidesh,
give us.
can you hear us? Can you hear me, Nidesh?
Yeah, sorry. Look at
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
laptop.
think yeah. I think Rajiv. Can you hear Rajiv? Rajiv was speaking. I think he had a point.
Yeah, I think that something happened. Yeah, Raju, sorry.
Yeah. So no, that's okay. So what I was saying is, again, I think when we started this discussion, one of the points that we very clearly mentioned was avoid, being overconfident, one, and then second, avoid over boasting about yourself.
Hmm.
So it is always said that overselling anything is really bad. It will always lead to bad sale, and we end up not selling anything, right? So we should be selling only. We should not be underselling, but at the same time we should not be overselling. And that is what this video very clearly towards end very clearly said. We should not do that, one. Second, what Nihar brought up very clearly, when we are getting interviewed, unless the employer thinks the candidate can add value and earn profit, let me be very blunt, earn profit for me, we will not be hired.
Yeah,
Unless the company very clearly thinks and can have that confidence that the candidate either directly or indirectly helps me earning profit, we will not be hired. So these two things I wanted to highlight.
yeah. Ultimately, it is the win-win that is important. So, another related video is here, that is on the hiring process.
Negotiating during an interview, it's hard, but the truth is that if you do your research, you'll walk in with much more confidence. My name is Sylvia. I'm a senior financial advisor. My name is Catherine, Senior Vice President, Talent Acquisition. Money doesn't happen only at the hiring stage, it happens throughout your career. And it's one conversation you should just get comfortable having. Negotiating is a tough conversation for a manager to have because we want everything in that relationship to be positive. The person to have that conversation with is your recruiter. The best financial advice I've ever received was to pay yourself first. You should start thinking about your 401k as soon as you start your first job. Common mistakes that people make when researching their value in the marketplace is they assume the high number. Companies work on a range. What you want to understand is, where do you sit in that range? Companies like to have a little bit of room in order to grow you in that role. But it's just another data point in a bigger conversation about what you want to do for this time in your life. Benefits can account for over 30% of your total compensation package. Take a look at flex time, vacation, bonus structure, professional development. The best money advice I've ever received is do what you love and the money will follow. For me, in my experience, that has not disappointed me.
All right. What did we learn?
So I think what I got is generally, and that's even my experience. When say first round of interview takes place and is about to kind of get over, the moment I check with candidate in case if they have any questions that they want to ask, the first thing that I get to hear in general is okay, what will be my pay package, and you know and the discussion on that. So something that we really need to be cognizant and be little careful as to when to one bring it up, second in front of whom to bring it up, right? Now what happens is many companies, if not more all, most of the companies, the hiring manager, they are not straight away going to talk about the compensation and all those stuff. They heavily rely on HR to do that part,
Mhm.
right? And internally then they can sit with them and see whether they can fit into the bracket and all those stuff.
Mhm.
Otherwise they generally want to avoid having direct dialogue on this part with the candidate.
Right.
The second is there are companies where the policy is very clear that the hiring manager is responsible to identify the right talent in terms of soft skills and technicals and all the stuff. The money part will always be taken up and finalized by HR. And I'll share one experience that I had. So a couple of years back, I
Mhm.
was being interviewed. The HR guy met me over the phone, and then I had two rounds of interviews. Post second end of second round of interview, HR guy again met me, and he said, when so you are scheduled for another round of interview, and while you're coming for next round, can you bring in your salary slips as well, please?
Right.
I said, okay, and I kind of accompany those. Now that day somehow HR manager was busy and he could not meet me. And towards end of my interview discussion, I requested the interviewers that if they can so the salary slips that I brought, HR personnel had asked me, and he strictly said whenever you meet HR, you give it to them, right? And we will not. So I'm not sure if he got that idea that I want to discuss about salary, but he
Mhm.
very clearly mentioned that that photo is with HR. That area belongs to HR, and we are not going to encroach that area. When you meet them, you give the salary slips, and that's where you can discuss your package as well. So that's my experience that I had in past, which I thought I'll just highlight and share.
Yeah, I think just Rajiv, thanks for that. I think it's a really good point. Salary is something that is the very last thing to discuss. I think, as you quite rightly say, Rajiv, because I think before anything, it's important to identify that it's the right candidate, and for the candidate to prove that is the right fit for the company, and then the candidate to feel that the company is the right fit for them. So once all those things, and once we've identified the value. The value add is there, then the point of the salary. So never jump into the salary too early in the process.
I absolutely agree to all this, and though it is a sticky point and it is often left for the end, candidates should though make some research on this area, try to find out from their friends and other colleague acquaintances that how much the company pays. There are websites like Glassdoor, etc., which can also give some lights, to
Yeah.
research on the expected salary. the third thing is that also the video highlighted is we should understand that the hiring managers would like to have some room for further growth of the candidate. So say if I'm hiring a manager basically, and the salary band is 13 to 18 lakhs, I would like to hire around 15. I would not like to hire at 17, 18, because then I cannot give the candidate growth within the company. I cannot really give any incentive for the good work in forthcoming years. So hiring managers would like to, recruit around 50% median point, in order to retain the person for 2-3 years before giving the next growth. So these are some of the limitations that the candidate should also be aware of and bargain accordingly. Of course, we need to highlight the strength, but on the same time, we need to also understand the way organizations and the pay structure work. So with that, we
And
can
sorry, Nidhi, just a very quick point.
Mhm.
And I think this is something, I think it's a tricky thing. And I think every person I speak to within the industry has a different sort of approach for this. So some people prefer to sort of say, oh, this is confidential, about the salary. So these kind of things are always at the candidate's discretion, whether or not they want to disclose that. But however, as you quite rightly pointed out, you will always know what the market value is for a certain job, and you will always know the range of that job by doing your own research.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to say, oh, this is my salary or this was my salary. You can always, that is up to your discretion, and these things are often private and confidential and contractual between you and your previous employer.
Indeed. And different part of the world have different policies around this. In some of the states,
Correct.
United States, it is prohibited even to ask the salary, but it also depends on the different corners of the world and the cultural aspect on this matter. So great, good resume. Key points to check. Again, I would like to highlight that this PPT and the slide is prepared to give you a reference document and manual, which you can utilize earlier. We will email you some of the points that we have highlighted. Of course, we are limited by time to highlight and discuss all the points, but some of these are, some key points that we can highlight is don't put on everything. So all the details which is not relevant is not needed on the resume. Try to make it 1 page or maximum 2. Have the visuals on the resume, like a key states, and try to make some kind of very bold and creative points so that it can be highlighted. People are getting more and more visuals nowadays everywhere, so that will help and it will make you stand out. Also, you can have an online supplement. You can give the reference to your blogs, your internet profiles, LinkedIn profiles, because you can't put all the details about you on the resume. Ninth number, design for schemability. So schemability is basically to say that if the hiring manager is very busy, want to give only 30 seconds to your resume, how should you design, like header, key bullet points, highlight and underline the key terms, so that the person can within 30 seconds understand that you're the right candidate. So make it schemable, right? One should not be forced to read every line and sentence, right? Nihar, Rajiv, anything further you want to add?
Yeah. It's a CV. It's not a book. So I don't want to read a book as a hiring manager. I just want a 2 or 3 page CV with highlighted points on it.
Right. Sorry,
so
Rajiv.
it has to be again, the summary of everything. That is what we are expected to put on CV. And generally we say short and crisp.
Excellent. Yeah. And other key thing is that keyword. Again, you can pick up from the JD. You can highlight the keywords, use the keywords in the resume for the opportunity. Other key points are experience first, education second. Keep things in the reverse chronology. Reverse chronology means start from now and go backward, so whatever you did in 2020 and then go back to 2015, 12, 2010. So that is a reverse chronology. Highlights the honors, not the GPA. That means kind of showcase your achievements. what you did, how much cost you saved, how much sales you achieved, or how much automation you did, rather than just saying that, oh, I got 7 or 8 GPA. This is not something going to directly impact the performance in the organization. Hence, the recruitment managers do not really value that as much as your key achievements. Have a header for skill sets. So often people just put 20 skill sets in the resume. Try to segregate that in the IT skill, communication and interpersonal skills, functional and domain skills, so that people can have, again, it becomes schemable. So people can just look at the different headers and understand that, okay, you have certain skill in every different dimensions, right? Then proofreading is very important. One typo or a spelling mistake can really screw your entire reputation, and attention to detail can also be, questioned if any typos such as that is found. Now, any awards and accolades, any volunteer experience, those things are also value addition. Anything else that we need to highlight before we move on from resume? Indeed.
No, I think you covered
time we can have a dedicated discussion on the resume as well. Okay, thanks Rajiv. So in future we can have a detailed discussion on the resume itself. It's a big area, but we have just provided a couple of bullet points here. And lastly, one thing I always love to find on resume, whatever you say, there should be a quantifiable number, right? Just saying, or there should be some evidence on the resume. Just saying that, okay, I'm good in leadership, doesn't say anything. It is a vague word, or it is a very empty word. Say, I led the team of 25 volunteers to clean the Mumbai beach, or I planted 500 trees and ensure it grew, with help of X number of volunteers, or I raised this many millions of rupees to help the school. This kind of quantifiable number will help more than just saying that, okay, I'm good in communication, or I'm good leader. This do not really add any value on the resume.
Yeah, so always follow up by an example,
Yeah.
Nidesh, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Give the backup evidence, numbers, quantifiable or measurable items which can communicate something more tangibly on the resume. Then for applying, don't forget to leverage employment agencies, job portals, right? There are plenty online nowadays. You can Google it. There are a lot on LinkedIn. There are many nowadays on the Facebook as well, or they are coming on the Instagram. So leverage all these tools and technique. For those who are from accounting and finance background, we will urge to check this link, jobs.accaglobal.com. This is the job portal of ACCA Global, the professional body. And it has the vacancies from all the employers all over the world, more than 7,400. And I'll repeat, 7,400 employers. They post their vacancies on this job portal. And I often think that many professionals are looking for the job, but they don't know, or they forget to check on those portals, right? So there are various such portals. We miss out to search for the jobs. In addition to that, FinSapien Institute has also enlisted key job portals on the page. So if you go to https://finsapien.com//ACCA, you'll find a number of job portals, their link, and what kind of roles they showcase. You can apply using those links as well. It will help you get to the bullseye faster. Then there is the ncs.government.in for all the government and Ministry of Labor related career website we can leverage. We have from FinSapien made the research of different agencies, job portals in one place. So you can leverage all these many, almost 21 plus job portals that we have enlisted. You can go through, you can leverage and utilize these job portals as well, right? To get the right job and vacancy. Because we are saying that, okay, spend 25 hours, 30 hours every week on application and all those things, track it. Then we want you to also have sufficient number of job portals on your table to use that. Any other thought, suggestion, Nihar and Rajiv?
I think that covers everything, Nitish. We've
Yeah,
given a nice
that,
list there.
yeah.
Great. So we have talked about the scenario-based questions often, and then there is a way to explain that. One STAR technique. So how STAR technique work? You need to describe a situation. So it is a very good tool to respond to any scenario-based question. So first STAR. So you describe a situation that there was a shortage of staff and my manager was looking for help. Okay. T, task. You came forward and you volunteered to work extra 1 hour or 2 hours every day for a week. Okay. Then A, action. What did you do? You just took all the high priority work and you focused on that and ensured that the deliverables were sent to the client and the issue was fixed by putting extra hours on daily basis. Wow, fantastic. So what was the end result? The result was that client got the deliverables and the reports they were expecting. Client was very happy and gave a very good feedback to the entire company, the team, and for you as well. So any scenario-based question comes, try to use this STAR technique. Give a situation in the background. What was the problem? Define the problem. Second, task. What was the objective to be achieved? What was the key problem to be attacked? Action. What did you do in that situation? And result. Finally, what did you achieve? What did you learn? And what was the benefit to you, the learning, and the benefit to the entire organization? Highlight the benefit to the organization rather than the benefit to you. And that is one of the good way to reflect on the scenario-based questions. Anything else that we should add from your experience?
No, so in terms of scenario, you have covered the way it should be, where people are very clearly able to kind of explain the situation which occurred and the steps that were taken to again help and ensure that we are meeting organizational goals.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not just about this scenario based questions, it is in general that I would urge everyone while we are speaking or talking in the interview, something that we have to be very clear. Of course, we have to be very clear as to what we are going to speak. It has to be crisp and clear. Second is your gesture should be going along with what you are saying. The way you are articulating, that has to again go along with your gestures and what you're saying. All have to be in sync. If those are not in sync, that the way it appears is somewhere there is a big disconnection within yourself, and that's why all these are not in sync.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore I kind of want to urge everyone, all the participants, when they are facing any interview, to make sure your gesture, your articulation, and your topic that you are talking about are in sync.
Fantastic point. Yeah, because we cannot, often there is an example quoted that you're trying to explain something about yourself and you're not able to look into the eyes of the interviewer, and interviewer is trying to really assess and see how confident you are while speaking all these points from personal experience. They can really understand that you're either hiding something or trying to make up something or thinking too much, so and these are the matter of practice. So this is where actually I can just highlight that FinSapien Institute also prepare the students and the professionals, especially those who are studying and looking for the suitable employment opportunity. We try to groom for the interview techniques, developing the right body language, how to respond to such questions, scenario, how to synchronize the words and the verbal actions, body language, and when you don't know the answer or you are in a difficult situation to respond, what are the best way. So this is where we spend almost especially for the large programs like HCCA, we spend almost 100 hours on grooming the candidates, providing various technical skill as well as the interpersonal skill set to make them job ready and employment ready, because often people know the technicality, but they fail in the interview because of some of the basics, and those also need to be solved. So fantastic. Thanks, Rajiv. And Nihar, anything else that we should add?
Yeah, so I guess just for the benefit of our audience, so as you say, they may not know the exact situational question an employer will ask, um, but you can use something, as you say, the STAR method. So that's just to prepare thoughtful, thorough speaking points. It will help you to gather those. And it'll basically help you address the interviewer's question in a cohesive story, for example, highlighting a very clear obstacle and resolution. And also for our audience that might be looking for jobs for the first time, they can also use the STAR approach, because often, as we touched on earlier, we don't expect you to know, or companies or the interviewer doesn't expect you to know everything, but what we want to know is, can you sort of can you learn? So say if you are facing an interview for the very first time and you're entering the job market for the first time, you can consider obstacles you've experienced in school, or any sports activities you've done, then break down each experience into using by using that STAR method. So you can use this method in if you're doing the interview for the first time, or if you are already an experienced interviewer,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
great point, Nihar. And so the STAR technique talks about the obstacle or the difficulty you might have faced, and then the steps that were taken to overcome that, which explains about the way your thought process is to the interviewer, and that helps him to understand how he's going to flare up when if he's or she is hired.
Exactly.
Yes.
Great. I think Jatin from the audience, he raised the hand. Jatin, please feel free to throw your question. Jatin or someone, I think, raised the hand to ask any question. Can you hear us? Okay, that's okay. So great. How about this? We have a list of 2022 different sample scenario based question. However, we would like to help you understand how these sample based questions are answered. We have given you a tool, but we can also give you some ready-made answer and responses. So how about this? If we ask maybe Nihar or Rajiv, you can also share your experience. If someone asks you, tell me a time when you failed and how did you handle the situation? How would you respond such tricky questions?
Yeah, if I may, very quickly, I guess the employers use this question to assess your ability to overcome pitfalls, basically, and to recover from defeat, if you like, and learn from your errors. So I think generally people look at failures in a bad way, but there's nothing negative. I think you try something, you fail, that's okay. So that's what we are trying to assess, how you overcome and recover from these situations by asking questions like this. So you can use your response to demonstrate your flexibility and share an example how you transformed a negative experience into a positive outcome. So before answering a question, it's important why the questions being asked to understand about your depth and your resilience and your pitfalls, as I pointed out. So I guess there are example one of the examples can be in my first month as an account manager, I wanted to impress the top client, and I overpromised, as Rajiv touched on something. So overpromising is not, you don't promise the world, be realistic, because when you promise the world, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay, so yes, an inexperienced person will try to shine, will try to be the hero of the day, but that's not the right thing to do. You know, an experienced person will give a realistic view, so you can achieve that, and the client doesn't feel disappointed. So say. I guess in this example, you know, in the first month as an account manager, you promised the client the world and you missed the deadline, and all of a sudden in the ratings where we have a different rating system for, you know, for different teams or within the organization, all of a sudden within that client, the client has rated us in the red region. In other words, the client is almost ready to leave us.
Yeah.
Okay. Now in the practical world, you know, you don't want to, because it's, you know, you don't want to be in the red zone where the client is not happy with you, and especially because you've overpromised. So that's okay. You've made your mistake, and you have, you know, this is your early on in your career, or maybe early on in that particular job. So what you got to do is, okay, you're in the red, but what you can show is how you can gain the confidence of the client back. So so you reach out to the client and take full responsibility of the situation. And often what will happen, the client will appreciate the fact that you've reached out to the client, and because of this experience, that you want to demonstrate that I've learned the value of setting realistic expectations and never guaranteeing more than what you could deliver. So the purpose of this question, as I say, is to demonstrate that how you recover from the defeat.
Yeah, that was good. And
Right.
I agree to you, Niyaz. I think you have to take it forward and explain it to the interviewers.
So, Rajiv, if another question, if we have to, get response, what would you do if an upset and dissatisfied client confronted you? How would you resolve this concern?
Okay, a great question. And I think at some point I had been through this. That's my personal experience. So, regulatory reporting, just to explain what had happened. Regulatory reporting first time came in 2012, and that's where everyone was trying to first be very clear in terms of the way all those are to be, answered and submitted to SEC. And during that process, we lost a lot of time. And two of the teams, it is us and the another team, who were actually responsible to make sure that client gets the right set of data well within time. There it was 15 days before the final cutoff. uh, Around 2 o'clock at night, client called, and first 10 minutes he just shouted.
Mhm.
And for me it was okay, I understand, I'm sorry, we'll make sure we do it. All these words I just kept on repeating. Then the first thing that happened was, since I was not cross questioning him
Hmm.
or trying to argue or trying to put forth justification, client cooled down. And then first thing that he said is, I'm sorry, I kind of just bombarded you, but this is my concern, that I'm not getting the right set of information. I'm worried after 15 days, I have the final date of submission. I still don't have information, right set of information.
Right.
And I said, okay, this is your problem. I'm here to help you and I will help you. Give me some days. So I had asked 3 days, and I told him, every day you are going to see some of the bullet points against some of the questions which are to be answered. And I continued doing that. And so, though I promised 3 days, by half days we were able to deliver everything, and client was happy. And it's not just him, the senior most from client's end wrote to the company here, to the seniors, saying that these guys did a fabulous job. Now, this is not about, I didn't say this to boast about myself. What I'm trying to highlight is someone who was so pissed off 3 days ago was converted into a really, appreciative client and writing, really good kind of mail for us. Us in the sense, when I say us, it is company, right?
Right. Hmm.
So it,
Right.
it got converted that way. So my point is, when we confront such things, first thing that we have to do is, when client is pissed off, you have to give couple of maybe minutes or seconds for him to vent out. Let him cool down.
Yeah.
Don't argue. Don't try to justify. First, listen to him. When he's bombarding, just listen to him. Make your notes, right? And when he cools down, that's where you start answering. Okay, Mr. So and so, this is your question. This is your concern that I heard while you were talking, and this is the way we are going to, work and make sure this issue is resolved. And that's how we should take, point by, those bullet points that we might have noted, and explain him logically. So it is so that they understand how things are going to fit in. When two people are talking and they are, say, 7,000, 10,000 miles away, it is the logical discussion which helps people to be satisfied and happy that I'm going to get what he's suggesting, and they're confident, right?
Yeah.
And as Nihar, had said, don't promise. I'll rather tweak that word. Don't over promise. So the way I take it is always good to under promise and over deliver. Then, over promise and under deliver. So the first situation is always people are going to appreciate, and that's what we should be focusing on.
Yeah, no, fantastic points made by Rajiv. I hope our audience can appreciate the insights that Rajiv just provided, because this is something, that is coming, that is proper insights that happens in the real life industry. I think for the benefit of our audience, I think the interviewer is always asking a question like this to determine whether you have conflict resolution and the communication skills required for the role. And I think Rajiv fantastically demonstrated that, the interviewer wants to see that your ability to be empathetic, and address unexpected challenges. And as Rajiv said, you have to listen. And I think the fact that you're listening to the customers or the client's concerns, is super critical for this question.
And we need to highlight those things in the interview. As Rajiv has also quite precisely pointed out, that providing the context, the situation, the challenges, and then what was his action plan. So we need to always highlight the action of the STAR, STAR. So whatever your action, so cite the emotion. So client is emotional, your manager can be emotional. So put that aside and focus on the action plan, deliver that one, and then explain the results. So Nihal and Rajiv, we have received one question from audience again, that is on how to handle if your recruiter is asking or querying on your lack of experience. So if one is inexperienced and manager has asked, that how can you handle the work, you don't have the right experience, what should be the response when the lack of experience is kind of noted in the resume or in the interview? What should be the response?
I guess this is similar to a question, doing a task that you've never done before. Similarly, you don't have the required sort of experience, and that's okay. I guess, they're just trying to understand your problem solving sort of ability in a sense here as well. To understand how how you learn new skills. So your response should detail your methods of developing a new skill. in a
Right.
scenario like this. So it's okay not knowing, it's okay not having the experience, but what you really need to demonstrate is that you're willing to learn, as we highlighted earlier as well, and and that you're happy to learn a new skill and your enthusiasm for the role. I can give an example, for a scenario like this. um, so the manager, I guess, asked to build and launch I guess, a digital campaign, right? So in this case, we are talking about someone who has never done a task before, but the person can also relate this to not having the right experience. Um, so the manager asked to build a digital ad campaign, which is something that the person has never done before. So I guess the guy explained to the manager that I have no experience leading this type of project, but then what the person needs to do is, they need to, but volunteer to do all the work is someone more experienced who has already done that tasks, to go and speak to them. Yeah, to go and leverage off their experience. Yeah, and study the best practices. And I guess once you've done that, your learning has started, and then you can, from there, you can get on with that task. So not having the experience is not the end of the game, because the fact that, if you get called for the interview, that itself shows that they liked your CV. Yeah, so now it is up to you how you're going to get jump through that hurdle of not having the experience. So just keep highlighting on one fact that you can learn, and that you have the perseverance to follow through the different challenges. I hope that answers the question.
Right. One thing
Yeah,
I have
and
also faced experience. Yeah, Raju, go on.
yeah, so again, one of my experience, personal experience. Uh, though I had always exposure of this fund accounting and fund admin business, I faced an interview, and I was asked, okay, they were into real estate valuation and fund accounting. So they asked me a straight question. Okay, tell me, there's a commercial property. Now, how are you going to value? So today it is kind of built, and now it is ready for rentals. Now, if I have to find the value of this property throughout the life of the property, how I'm going to value it. Now, so okay, my first reaction was like, I don't have exposure to this. I may have to gather certain set of information and then talk to relevant people to find out the actual value. However, logically, the answer is I would want to look at the cost of the development, the cost of the land. Then I would like to see what kind of rentals I'm going to get, assuming that property would be there for next 15 years. And over and every year, what kind of incremental revenue I'm going to see, and uh, how frequently I'll have to do the maintenance in terms of repairs. So I'm going to find out the net present value of everything, and then come up with the final valuation of that property. And uh, you know, I won't say I was 100% right, but I was not wrong. I was not I was not talking Greek for English. So I was one to the point. I answered, and if I logically at a high level I see my answer was right, I may not have those detailed nitty-gritties and the steps to arrive at that, but yes, overall it was right. So what Nihar brought up, along with that, what I wanted to, with this example, what I wanted to add is, you may not uh, you may not have experience. You are not going to always have experience of and even if you are in an organization for 10 years, there are things which will come up new first thing that has to happen is one, learning, of course, that Nihar touched upon. Second is the logical thought process to carry out that and complete that process.
Right.
And that is very, very important.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
great point.
it's a fantastic point. I think just from my practical experience, very briefly, Nitish, you know, is in project management world, for example, we've all experienced, we are all going to come up with situations where we don't have experience in. So it's always good
Yeah.
to reach out to people. Your communication skill matters. You reach out to the subject matter expert. It's very important to reach out to the subject matter expert, leverage off the experience that they already have. And before you know it, yeah, you are going to familiarize yourself and learn about the task. So what's important is to not give up and not get overwhelmed. This is something you will learn with experience. I think from my personal experience, I can say I'm always looking for new challenges. Even in my existing role, I can tell you half of the things are new that are coming up, new features to the software, new things that we don't know. Only the developers know. But what we do is we have to learn, and not only learn, then we have to train people. So then you have to learn quickly. You have to become the subject matter expert yourself and provide training. So in the job paying world, you don't have a lot of time to learn. So these are the skill sets you need to, you need to develop, learn fast, deliver, and then, provide that value to the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So one or two other things I have noted from earlier experience is that even though we perceive that we don't have the experience as a fresher, it is not quite accurate. Even as a fresher, you'd have volunteered in various projects, you'd have worked in various groups during your academics, etc. Those are also value-adding tasks. You know, if you're working on a project, that group, any volunteer work, NGO, these are the work which tells you and train you for the leadership, communication, project management kind of tasks and activities. You need to highlight those. And as I said earlier, we undervalue or underestimate our network. In the same manner, we often underestimate our skill set and experience as well. So highlight those achievements. If you have, even when you are 12 years old and you work in any program in your community, even that is a skill set that you can highlight and say that, okay, how it is going to help you in the corporate and the workplace. It is not only the workplace experience that helps in the workplace, even your personal, academic, and any other work that you have done in the past may provide you the transferable skill set for the work. So it is not that you are inexperienced. You need to highlight any other experience in a suitable manner and connect that with the JD, the job description, in order to convince the employer, right? So that is often the freshers miss that out, and we need to remind you. Second thing is, again, the objective of the recruiter could be just to assess how you respond, and are you a passionate or enthusiastic person, because they know that you are inexperienced, and it is not that they don't want to hire inexperienced people. They just want to assess how you respond. If you say, oh yeah, it is not, even if I don't have the experience, but I'm enthusiastic to learn, I can spend all my time, first few weeks to learn the job, and I can perform it well with help of your colleagues, with the colleagues and you, they'll be convinced. They can ask you further questions, but you need to just show a contagious, infectious energy to learn and do things. And then you can highlight that, okay, in the fast moving world, things are changing so quickly, then almost everyone is reset to zero. Everyone has to start from scratch because of the things which is changing fast. Then you can say the positive thing with you is that you are committed and to learn, and you really want to learn things fast. Then your inexperience is not a negative thing, it is a positive thing, because every time you can, at this point at least, you can start from zero with a fresh mind and you can learn things out. Another thing that I often see freshers or even the professionals miss out is this. And this is not often, even you'll see in the website and the career portals. You need to send a thank you note, right, to the recruiters, HR managers, etc. And when you're sending that thank you note, even that needs to be very strategic. Highlight 3 key points that was discussed and impressed you, 2 points where you can make the contribution and difference, which is distinct and unique to you. Highlight those 2-3 points. Talk about what you learned from the interview and what you really liked and why you want to really get associated with this organization, and ultimately say thank you for your time again, and sharing the information about the company. Look forward to hearing from you. Send that thank you note at the end. You can't really understand how much value it is going to carry, because it will remind the recruiter that you have understood everything, you have noted down the point, you are keen, enthusiastic, you are committed, you are looking forward to get associated with the company. And it will also remind the recruiter about your uniqueness and strengths, and about all the interview. It will really increase your chances of selection.
Yeah.
So coming back to the PPT, we have kind of gone well beyond the our plan time. However, since we are getting the questions, and there is a lot of important point to talk about, I can just suggest that you can go through the sample scenario and the questions which is enlisted here, and practice that out, such as talk about yourself and all those key questions here. Question number 5, introduce yourself. These are the also important questions. So practice those questions, do the mock, do the dry run, practice this question in front of the mirror, talk to your friend, call a friend, and do the mock interview with them, before you really call the interviewers and managers. Try to do 2-3 rounds of mock interview at least before the final round. This will really help you. And another great thing that we want to share with you is basically the list of questions, technical questions for accounting and finance domain, right? So we have some 24 sample questions, and we are not saying that these are the questions that will come up and prop up anywhere, but this is just to give you an indication what kind of questions can come up, how to practice and answer them. So this could be a good list of questionnaire for you to prepare. And rest assured, if you're registered, or you can send the email to connect@finsapient.com. We will send you the PPT, and we are going to send it to all the registered participants anyway, so that you can utilize this whenever you're going to apply for the new jobs or looking for the new career roles. So over to you, Nihar and Rajiv, if you want to add some last few points.
I think we covered everything. Again, just to summarize what we covered. So one, when we are facing the interview, we have to be, we have to be very crisp as to what we are speaking. We have to make sure that we are not overselling ourselves. We have to make sure that we are a good listener. By that, what I mean is, first we listen and understand the question, and not by listening half of the sentence we jump to the conclusion and start answering. And I've faced such candidates as well. I've seen such candidates as well. So it is very important that we are a good listener, understand that question. If we don't, there's no harm in asking that question and requesting to elaborate a little more than just trying to answer and then move ahead. Don't rush. There's nothing to rush about. And as Nihar had a very good point that he had touched upon, with the idea that your CV has been selected, you are being called for the interview. That means people in that organization has liked your CV. This is what you have presented, and that's why you have been called for the interview. That means you have more or less cracked half of your interview. The balance half you have to crack, and your physical appearance, your gestures, how logically you're thinking. So just to quote one of the examples, generally when I ask, uh, I'm not interested in knowing how good people are in terms of carrying out steps, step 1, 2, 10. I'm not interested in that. What interests me is how logically a person is going to derive any of the process and complete it, right? Which helps me to understand how do they explore their logical thought process, because when they explore their logical thought process, that means even if they face a situation where they have not worked on something earlier, they still will get some rough idea as to how they can approach that, and then basis others experience, they can move fast. So this is all I just wanted to kind of summarize on our discussion that we had today.
Um, yeah, no, thanks, Rajiv. I think you've pretty much summarized everything there. So I guess from my side, I think I just want to say that I hope people appreciate the insights that we brought to the webinar today. Use this the PPT material that we are going to send out to our audience, and and I guess just I hope they use it, distribute it to people who need it, because I think in today's world, I think the biggest thing is people losing jobs, or people without jobs, for example. So the whole intention for this webinar was to help people for interviews, how to look for jobs, and I think Rajiv and Nidish and myself, we gave you a lot of insights, but feel free to reach out to us, obviously, and distribute it, look at the PPT, and reach out to FinSapient. I guess that's all I want to add from my side, Nidish.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, precisely. Thanks, Nihar and Rajiv and the audience for the questions, basically. And it is not the end of the support system. It is a start, rather. We'll send you the PPT, and in case you still have a question, send the email on connect@thefinsapient.com, and we are set out to help the job seeker and guide them, mentor them as well. So we'll time to time also prepare the videos and float on our YouTube channel of FinSapient Institute. So watch out for those things, because we have, as a team FinSapient, we have a kind of experience of conducting almost 15,000 different interviews, right? We are 12, 13 different people. We have that experience, and we want to share those expertise and insights with you in the time of uncertainty, and when there are many job losses and people are looking for the right opportunity and the guidance. So feel free to reach out to us and benefit from our experience, and we wish you the best of luck and job search. Rajiv,
Yep, all
anything
the
else? Yeah.
yeah. So just last thing, which is again what just Nidesh said, or towards and what even Nihar said. Please don't connect. We are really there to help you, and that's why we thought of having this discussion kind of meeting, and that's truly our intention, right? Irrespective whether again you join some of our courses, you join, you don't join, you kind of so irrespective of all those, if you think we can really help you in mentoring you in terms of preparation for some of the job interviews, please feel free, and we'll be happy to help you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Raju, again, and Nihar. And we appeal to you that whenever we send the PPT and the PDF, it will be also on the YouTube. So share with your friends. The objective of this session is to just help out people at large. So share with your friends all these tools and techniques, the questions and strategies, so that maximum people can benefit out of this and from this entire discussion. Again, best of luck, and see you probably in some of other webinar like this.
Thank you, Nidish.
All the best, everyone.
Thanks, Rajiv.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Nihar.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Raju.
Bye-bye.
Nihar.